Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's lesson is on ratios. That might be a word you've never even heard of before, and that's okay because it's brand new in sixth grade. So, our lesson today is the introduction to ratios and what they mean. And if you saw behind me, you see how we're going to be learning about these. Look at this yummy candy. Oh, I wish you were here because I could share some with you, but I can't, so I have to give it to the teachers instead. So, you remember a couple of days ago when all those wonderful teachers helped us set our world records? Well, I'm going to make a bag for each of these teachers with some candy to say thank you. Now, this is only 4 of them. There were more teachers than that, you remember, but these are the bags. So you can see the bags, and I wanted to keep it fair. I thought it needed to be fair. So you can see I started putting the same thing in each one. So how much candy is in each one? Well, hopefully that's an easy question to answer. I put 1 Reese's in and 2 Twix in. And we're going to use this to help us think about ratios. All right, let's take a look at this word ratios. It is pronounced ray-she-os, or sometimes you'll hear it called ratios. So it's ratios or ratios. And ratios show that 2 things have a numeric relationship to each other. That's a number relationship. So a ratio tells how much of one thing there is compared to how much of something else. For instance, in the picture, you see there are 3 pictures of boys and there are 2 pictures of girls. So we could use a ratio. We could use the ratio idea to tell us that there are 3 boys to 2 girls. Now, that's something that you're super familiar with. You just maybe hadn't heard the word ratio before. So when we read and write ratios, they always have the word to in them. Ratios are written 3 different ways. 3, 2, 2. That's one way. 3, let's see if I can get the little thing to work here. Look at this. So 3, 2, 2. 3 boys, 2 girls. And we write the word TO. That's one of the ways we write ratios. It has the word TO in it, and we read 3, 2, 2. Now, we also can write it with a colon. You've probably seen these in your writing before. Maybe that would come before a list of something. But in math, this 2 dots, one above the other, that's a colon. We also read it as the word 2. So that right there we read as 3, 2, 2. But instead of writing the word TO, we write the colon, but we still read 3, 2, 2. We don't say the word colon. We don't say 3 colon 2. We say 3 to 2. So there's still 3 boys to 2 girls. Now let's take a look down here. 3/2. Holy cow, you say that looks like a fraction, as an improper fraction, as a matter of fact. This is so tricky. This is why we don't learn about ratios until 6th grade, because any other grade that's earlier than us, if they saw that, they would probably read that as a fraction. But when we're learning about ratios, we can use that dividing bar and write 3, the dividing bar, kind of the fraction bar, and we still read it 3, 2, 2. That's extra tricky. Oh, I got a mistake in my slide. It's extra tricky because it looks like 3 halves. Now, sorry about that mistake there. It looks like 3 halves. It's not 3 halves, or maybe it is. That's tricky about ratios. We have to know the context in order to know if we're talking about ratios when they look like fractions like that. That's very tricky. Now, ratio order matters. When we're talking about ratios, the word that comes first has to correspond to the number that comes first. And the number that comes second has to correspond to the word that comes second. Is that confusing? Not to worry. After you're done, if you're confused, you can go back and read that again, and it'll start to make sense. But let me show you an example. So here is the let me pick up my marker thing again. Here's the little bag that I showed you earlier, Reese's and Twix. So if I'm going to talk about a ratio of Reese's to Twix, remember ratios talk about the relationship of one number to the relationship of the other number. So we could talk about Twix to Reese's. Remember when I said order matters? Since Twix comes first, the number of the Twix has to come first. So there are 2 Twixes and there's 1 Reese's. Since Reese's, the word comes second, the number that goes with Reese's has to come second. Look over here. 2 to 1. 2 Twix to 1 Reese's. We can write it all 3 ways with the word 2 to 1 with the word 2, with the colon 2 to 1, and with the looks like a fraction bar, with the division bar, the fraction bar, 2 to 1. So there are 2 Twixes in the package for every 1 Reese's. Look what happens down here to our ratios when we switch around the order that we're talking about. If we say we're talking about Reese's to Twix, then we have to have the Reese's number come first. Reese's has to come first. So now it's 1 Reese's to 2 Twix. The 1 comes first because the Reese's came first. The 2 comes after the word 2 because the Twix came first. 1 to 2 or 1 to 2. Now, if your head is a little swimming, not to worry. You can pause, take a little break, come back and watch this again. And the second time it might make more sense. But I also tell you what, it'll come clear as we go forward. So I encourage you to use the strategy of sort of read on and find out, because it will start making more sense.